Hello lovely people, welcome to our tarot reading for the week of the 19th of December. I hope you've all had a really good week and that you're prepared, or almost prepared at least, for Christmas, and I'm excited to see what the cards have to tell us. Right, so let's have a little look. Okay, now before we look at the cards, I just want to show you which deck I'm using today. So we're looking at Whispering Spirits tarot deck by Joanna Nelson. They're really sweet little deck of cards. Okay, let's have a look. Oh, we have Swords, Page of Swords. We have Major Arcana here. We have Strength. And then we have the Two of Swords. So we've got more swords. If I remember rightly, we had swords last week. So there's quite a lot of mind stuff going on at the moment, really, isn't there? Okay, so Page of Swords. So the Page of Swords, it can represent news. So it can be about receiving messages, either by email or text or letter or telephone call, and usually about an idea or a plan that you're currently involved in. It can also suggest that your head are up in the clouds, and that, you know, about something maybe that you need to come back down to earth about before you make any decisions. So quite interesting, really. Now, so there's kind of lots of things really about the page here, which is quite interesting. The page can be an aspect of yourself, because it's a court card. It can be an aspect of yourself, or it can be somebody that's close to you, somebody that you're involved with in some way that's close to you. So if we're looking about it in that way, it could be we could be looking at you know, about unnecessary defensiveness. So the Page of Swords is a person that would pretend that they're fine and that it's everybody else who has the issue. And it's very much about lowering your defenses and to experience a huge breakthrough, because it's openness that will get you past the blockages you are experiencing. So with this, when this question comes up, I would ask, you know, do you ever get defensive? And if you rush to say no, then this is the card for you. So think about that question before you answer it. Do you find it difficult to hear honest critical feedback from other people? Or do you fear people seeing your vulnerabilities? Because the Page of Swords can be about ego getting in the way. It can be denial about difficult feelings. So this page doesn't like to be wrong. This page likes to think that she's best at what she does, that she's the cleverest or he's the cleverest. And, you know, this does not work well with others. It creates disharmony in the workplace or in relationships in the family, because this page is always guarding himself, herself. And as you can see, the page is ready to swing the sword. So it can be a mask for her being up for hurt, a feeling of vulnerability that others will discover that he's not as confident as he'd like to be, that he's not 100% confident about what he's doing or she's doing. So this card represents that part of ourselves. And it can represent other people who have no self-awareness. And this no self-awareness may trigger your own inner Page of Swords reaction. So because it appears that it appears to the behaviors of people at work or in your family, and this can be really irritating. However, instead of being really peed off when the energy of the Page of Swords is showing itself, thank this page for revealing that resistant part of yourself that needs to be more vulnerable and open. So it's an interesting little card. Now this leads us on to strength. And this card is a major arcana card, so it's very much about our psyche and what's beneath our behaviours, what kind of motivates our behaviours. And this card of strength is a symbol of our inner strength. And it's telling us that our strengths need to be reinforced every day, that it needs to be habitually exercised. So every time you act in your own best interest, despite your fear and your inner weakness, you are developing strength. Now, strength is a choice, and because you can either stay stuck or be afraid, or you can choose to be strong, to confront, to face your fears, and to change your behavior. Now, the lion in this card represents this woman. So this woman represents our higher self, and the lion represents our lower selves, our lower impulses. So the lion represents your fear, your anger, your bad habits, belligerence, aggressiveness, and other sort of out of control behaviors. Now the infinity symbol here above this woman, it's showing where she is eternally confronting the lion. So she's eternally confronting her lower impulses, and that her strength is now part of her because she's habitually been reinforcing by confronting and overcoming weakness every day. Now this strength it's not about brute strength, it's very much about gentle compassion, it's self-directed, good decisions. And this strength will get easier when it's practiced as a daily routine. It will become a habit. So with this card is telling you that you are more powerful than you give yourself credit for. And that it's also saying that behavior can be hard to change. So you need to allow your higher and lower selves to work together in harmony. Because if one dominates the other, strength will give way to fear and a need to control life. So this card is saying that you do have the ability to face life. You have the ability to face difficult circumstances or change with hope and inner strength and courage. That you have the strength to face your inner fears and desires instead of subjecting them to your will. So you're not having to manipulate them. It's a lot of it is about acceptance, and acceptance of that shadow side of yourself, because all of these weaknesses and strengths, weaknesses, these are part of our shadow side. And there isn't a single one of us that doesn't have this side to us. And so strength, this card promotes a win-win situation. It's when you're choosing to, say, for instance, to eat well, you're keeping your promise to stay well. Or, if you're in a row with somebody and you choose to kind of stay silent, or when you really want to scream and go mad with the other person, and maybe it's your boss, maybe your boss is unfairly saying stuff to you that you just feel like punching him in the nose for, and but if you can keep yourself together, then you might also stay employed. So it's very much about creating a balanced interchange. And this card, it helps us to remain resilient in the midst of our fears. So we all have the aspects of both the woman and the lion here, and we must acknowledge the presence of the lion in ourselves, or else we'll simply be mauled by those behaviors. Now, this brings us on to the Two of Swords, and the Two of Swords is about our behaviors. It's about our daily existence, if you like. And so this is what motivates our behaviors, and this is kind of the way we live on a day-to-day level. It's a minor arcana card. And with the Two of Swords, the Two of Swords is saying that you need to make a decision or choose between two alternatives, which is the same thing as making a decision. And it's also, because it's a sword card, it's about resolving emotional conflict to get to a clear decision. So maybe you need to face what it is you fear so that you can understand what circumstances are teaching you. Maybe you need to withdraw from a relationship to sort out how you feel. Now, the swords crossed at the heart are to protect you, they're to protect her from painful feelings. And the grey sort of dress that she's wearing, this kind of represents how she's becoming cold and emotional as she refuses to face the cause of her pain. So if you allow nothing to approach you, nothing can hurt. And so it's this mixture of anger and fear. And the swords are ready to strike, as you can see. However, the turmoil is in the mind, because we're looking at the swords suit, and so this card is about stepping back to make sense of your emotions, and so your fears may not be justified. Now, the water also symbolises an emotional distance from stability and a need to deal with the instability within. So the Two of Swords symbolises making peace with the feelings of being in between. Being in between kind of like life stages, in between jobs or relationships or projects, situations. Being in between maybe friendships or career goals, or plans, whatever. And this card is advising you to find your center. And so I would ask you here, what do you feel is unresolved in your life? And is this in-between situation making you anxious about your future? Can you be at peace with not having everything completely figured out right now? So the figure in this card is in between two swords, and she's in between the land and the sea. And she looks very calm, really, doesn't she, and centered. So she's okay with not having everything figured out. And so therefore this card is telling you, this Two of Swords is asking you to make peace with the area of your life that is still in between. Because the in-between time is where your higher self is most alert. And when your higher self is most alert, this is where your best potential is manifesting. So it's a really interesting, it's a really interesting little 3-card reading, beginning with the page and ending, beginning with swords and ending with swords, and having the strength in between. So I love this little reading. So, lovely people, this was our reading for this week. And if it resonates with you, do leave me a comment below. You can subscribe to this channel to be notified for the next reading. And if you would like to know more, you can book a private reading with me. You'll find my email address in the description of this video. And at this point, I would like to also wish you a very happy Christmas. And I look forward to chatting with you again just after. So, cheerio, bye-bye, lots of love.